We're talking about our favorite campy movies this week and why we love them so much. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Robert.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Toss.
And this is Grizzly Kiki.
Grizzly Kiki.
What?
Oh. What's up, kids?
What's going on? What's new, Toss? What you been up to?
Well, first of all, happy Sheester.
Oh, happy Easter. She is risen,
Yeah.
Mama.
She has risen. Yes.
So many Twitter posts today with the caption, "She is risen."
Mm-hmm.
One guess as to what the photo was. One guess.
Things are good. My mom turned 80 this weekend.
Oh my god.
Happy
Congratulations.
birthday to Lucky.
Thank you. My mom's nickname, Thai people have nicknames, so my mom's nickname is Lucky. So happy birthday, happy 80th birthday, Lucky. No, but very chill. Things are good. And what about you guys?
You wait, you went out to dinner or lunch with your mom?
Yes.
Did she wear a color, like a fun?
She hasn't been wearing a lot of colors recently.
I always picture her in violet because I feel like that was like one of the more common colors that she would wear, like all violet.
Yeah.
Very
She
beautiful.
tries. She tries once in a while, but she's not as like on it as she used to be.
Wow.
Makes me sad.
Mm-hmm.
The brightness in your mom's wardrobe was really, it made me smile. So I don't know how else to like communicate.
Oh,
Anyway,
thank you. How was your guys' Easter?
I mean,
It was uneventful. I'm recovering from like oral surgery, so it's been a weird week. So I'm just kind of like excited to not be in pain in a few days. So
and
yeah.
Easter is on 4/20, so I had to choose which holiday. So I'll let you figure out which one
Well,
I
happy
celebrate.
420
I just cleaned my bong and it's sitting on the counter waiting for after we're done here.
to work. Did you guys catch the Drag Race finale?
Yes.
No, I haven't seen this program.
What is this Drag Race you speak of?
What is this program? Yeah.
Thoughts?
I was happy with it, I guess. I mean, so the internet just ruins everything. Like, I'll say that. Like, I was very happy. I mean, people might have watched it by now, so whatever. I was really happy that I won because I think that she really was. I know. Well, whoops.
You could just say, "I'm happy for the winner."
I'm happy for the winner. I think she worked really hard and she was entertaining and, was amazing. Of course, I wanted the runner-up to win just because she kind of like stole my heart. But the internet is out here trying to discredit the person who won and try and make it seem like the other person should have won. And it's just like, leave it alone. Like, it is, like, at the end of the day, it is reality TV. So, like, just leave it alone. They're both amazing queens. The whole cast is kind of great. And, like, the winner, I think, deserved to win. And, like, that's it. Like, moving on. It's not, like, taking away from anybody.
I agree.
But other than that, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I just, like, I try and not go on social media for Drag Race stuff because I feel like, I don't know, it's just, like, not nice sometimes.
People are very not nice.
And,
yeah.
Predictably so, people are upset by the winner because that's what happens every year. There's always a contingent of people who are like, well, you said orange, well, I like the color blue. And it's like, okay, maybe blue will be the color chosen next year. Like, move on. It's not like there are bigger issues at hand. I will say the team that lost back in November. That was the team that mattered, baby. That team. When that team lost, that was devastating. Drag Race is meant to be a respite from the rest of it. So take it as that.
Exactly.
And I'm also happy for the winner. My issue lies with the program itself because this is now maybe the third or fourth year in a row that the finale episode feels more like a Jerry Lewis telethon than it does an evening of drag. A real evening of drag would be 7 to 8 hours long. People would be falling asleep. Everyone would be so mad at who the winner was, but it would be amongst the other contestants, which makes sense.
We miss the theaters. We need the theaters back.
Yeah.
Like, what is this with the sound stage? It's crazy.
I feel like they can get away with the soundstage. We need a reunion. We need that moment to air things out, and it has to happen the way it's always been happening. This whole thing, T.S. Madison is lovely, and she's probably a great host, and you can bring her in to host the reunion if you want, but having it be this like asterisk that happens at DragCon, if DragCon even takes place, it's not good enough for me. My favorite episodes have always been the reunion because it's when people get extremely real. They unbutton all the buttons, and it's my favorite.
They gave a little bit of it in that last episode, but like we want more than that.
Wah, wah.
We don't want taste. We want an actual reunion.
And to be fair, I love the Lollapalooza. I love it.
Yeah.
I think they should keep it. Always do it. Also, I have a bone to pick with the spoiler community on Reddit. Where was the Ain't Nobody lip sync that was being promised back in the winter? Where was it? Where was my Shaka Khan lip sync? Reddit, do you have anything to say? Reddit? I was looking forward to that the whole season, and granted, it's probably for the best that it didn't happen, because I'm sure that we were saving ourselves from an Arietti versus Lilia Butthole Collins lip sync to a Shaka Khan song. Like, thank goodness for that. But I'm still waiting for that song. Where is that song? Where is it? I want it. RuPaul, I know Shaka Khan is your favorite. Where's this song? Where is the song? Is it because Rufus? Because it's Rufus and not Shaka by herself? Is that why? I need to know. I'm finished.
She has feelings.
She has lots of feelings. Yeah, I'm gonna.
Speechless? After my speech?
Yes.
Are you speechless?
I am speechless.
I feel very shiny today. Ooh, shiny, because she's new. Still in the packaging, baby.
Oh my god. Ow. Stop it.
Are we good to move on from Miss Drag Race? Or do we have more thoughts? Yeah? Okay.
No, we are.
Did we want to talk about anything from Coachella that was
that she is just a professional and you are not gonna f it up?
I will say it was really interesting watching the Coachella weekend 2 performances, because I told Robert, I was like, wow, I feel like everybody gets leftovers. Like, who's Addison Rae, first of all? And I know who she is. But
Gen Z is grabbing their fortune pictures.
I really liked the polka dots, but all the special guests were gone. It really was lacking a little bit, I think, but it was fun watching. I mean, we watched Gaga and Charlie's performances, so that's my point of reference. But it was really interesting that, the guests were gone. For some reason, I didn't think that would be a thing. And I don't know, I guess I would have been disappointed if I had only bought tickets for weekend 2. Having, seeing Charlie and Billy do guests together was such a moment for me. It was so much fun, and I don't know, I just really enjoyed it. And then imagine, there are people who got to experience that live, and then you buy tickets for weekend 2, and you don't get that. I would be very disappointed, personally. Yeah. But I thought it was great otherwise,
Yeah, those weekend 2 blues.
Yeah.
I think it's strange that Coachella is 2 weekends. I feel like most
festivals are 1 weekend. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's
weird.
I
just think it's really cool that you can you watch it for free. There's no, as somebody who's not there, I think that's really cool, actually.
Weekend 2 feels like the matinee performance. Low energy.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny that Charlie was pointing out how low energy weekend 1 was, and I don't think she got much more energy from weekend 2. Although, I will say, for all artists out there who are feeling like they're getting less energy, just say that you got less energy the night before, and guess what's going to happen? The crowd's going to be like, "Wah!" They're going to lose their mind. And,
yeah, exactly.
That's what always happens, is you give them an opportunity to compete, and they want to win. That's that. Let's go to camp. Why don't we?
Let's go to camp.
Yeah, let's go camping. So we put together a list of our favorite campy movies, and I would like for each of us to talk about what is most important in that movie. What was the scene that stood out that made it a campy classic for you specifically? And I feel like I should go ahead and start with Showgirls, which is a big, it's a big one to start with, but I think we all probably have a memory of Showgirls coming out. I know that for me it stood out because it was NC-17 rated and there were no other movies at the time. And so I was just picturing, I was a very Bobby's World kind of kid where like I would picture the most extreme version of whatever was going on. So I was imagining like armed guards standing outside of the movie theater being like, no, you are not 17. And then like they would shoot you and you'd disintegrate like it was like a sci-fi movie. So I remember that. I remember that Showgirls was going to be coming to the second run movie theater that we had in town. And they had this black and white version of the poster on kind of like a standee thing by the concession stand. And the nipples, so Elizabeth Berkley's nipples had little light brights inside of them that they could plug in. It was for a child who was just, paying attention to everything like that. I was like, oh, the light bright looks different here. My experience with discovering the movie Showgirls didn't happen until I was like 15 or 16. I was working at Blockbuster and I was putting it back. And I was like, oh, right, that movie that was such a big deal and people couldn't stop talking about it. Because I was that kid that if you told me something was dangerous, I wanted to come closer and get a good look at it, And I loved it so much that I made my own 20-minute version of Showgirls with just the dance sequences in it. And my favorite scene is the one I call Sexy Rhythm Nation. It's the one where it's all the bikers that come out, and like the story is kind of like that the bikers come out and they try to sexually assault the dancers. And Gina Gershon shows up and kind of like saves the day. And Gina Gershon and Elizabeth Berkley are supposed to be lovers that like discover their attraction to each other through this dance. Yeah, that's still to this day my favorite piece of film is Sexy Rhythm Nation with the motorcycles. And it makes me very, very sad that, it makes me so emotional. It makes me very sad that there are no shows like this left in Las Vegas. There are no proper old school showgirl type shows left in Vegas. Do either of you have any thoughts on Showgirls?
My thoughts on Showgirls are that I have never seen it.
Okay. Fair.
Wow.
Fair, but you have homework now.
I like it. I feel like I've seen it in bits and pieces on TV, and then the first time that I saw it like uncensored and all that was like and I think it was with you actually, Robert. And
yes, it was.
It's a little bit of a fever dream. I mean, I personally like the like Channel 11 edit because they have the Sharpie bras on everybody.
It was VH1 who started it with the Sharpie bras.
With the VH1.
Yeah.
It looks so funny because like looking back on it, right? That you can very easily tell like they're not even like good. They're like almost like gummy bras. It's really, really weird, but it kind of increases I think the campiness of it because like how else are you gonna like if you just cut those parts out, you kind of have no movie, so they have to figure out a way of doing it. I just think the intensity of it is something that always gets me because everybody is so much. It's so much, knowing that the director pushed them to be that extra because like that was his idea of what Americans are like, or it's wild that nobody on that set, or at least it seems, was like, hold on, this is not how things actually are. Like, let's introduce more nuance. Like, let's, have it be a little less, dolphin in the water. It's a lot. It's a lot. But I do think it has its moments that I really enjoy and others that make me really sad. Like when Nomi's friend gets assaulted, it's still, to me, one of the most disturbing things I've seen on film. And we've seen a lot of really icky things in movies, but it just felt so, somehow they got
this movie now.
They got the brutality of that perfect because I reacted to it pretty viscerally, but I think if you haven't seen it, you should watch it, like anybody really, because I do think it's something that does come up a lot. And I do think it's unfair that kind of ruined Elizabeth Berkley's career because she didn't create the movie. She was just in it.
She was also directed to act that way because I feel like a lot of people are equating her performance in that movie with her skill level when it comes to acting. And the two have nothing to do with each other. She was she was told to be bigger, do it bigger, do it like, and that's why we have the scene of her in the pool with that guy whose name I can't remember.
Kyle MacLachlan.
Kyle MacLachlan, thank you.
Yeah.
that sex scene in the pool where she's having a seizure, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an amazing movie, and I know that that's probably wild to hear, but if I were to ever have the opportunity to remake a film, it would be Showgirls. I have a clear. It's I've seen it that many times. It's seared that much into my mind that I have a clear image of what I would do differently as a director if I had the chance. Yes.
Interesting.
If I had the chance, I would treat her real nice, I think.
Do you remember, before we move on, do you remember the year that we were going to turn you into the poster for Halloween?
Yes, of course I do. I remember so I got the idea that I wanted to be the Showgirls poster where it's just like a sliver of Elizabeth Berkley and then the rest of it's black. And I remember we had Tina Burner on the podcast for the first time. And I told her the idea, and I told her that I had bought all of the components to put it together. And she was like, so then why are we just sitting here? The poster board is over there, grab the poster board. Why aren't we making this costume right now? Who's next?
Daniel, you go.
So one of my favorite campy movies is Spaceballs, because I grew up really liking Star Wars, and I also like Mel Brooks movies. But Spaceballs to me is probably the perfect balance between like kind of having a serious narrative, but also taking everything. Like he takes all the beats from Star Wars and puts a campy spin on it. For me, my favorite is Joan Rivers as C-3PO. It's just like
Spaceballs
even
is
as
such a great film.
it's so like Rick Moranis as Darth Vader. Joan Rivers as C-3PO. It's amazing. It really is amazing. And it's funny because I hadn't thought about that movie in a long time until we started thinking about movies for this episode. And so she's one of my favorite parts of the movie, but there's the part where they said we're combing the sand for them. And you see the stormtroopers with giant combs literally combing the sand. And to me, like that movie is kind of the definition of camp, because it is this like literal interpretation of what's being said or shown, but in a smart way. Right, because it's not like and Mel Brooks is just a genius. So it was a movie that I found to be endlessly entertaining, and so that was a movie that really I would kind of always go back to as a kid, because like it's kind of guaranteed to make you laugh, and I think it's like rewatchable, especially the moment where they show like all the like branded merch. Like it really breaks a lot of the fourth wall and things like that. So I really enjoy that movie quite a bit.
Did you have an affinity for Star Wars?
Yes. Yeah, because like if you've seen Star Wars and then you watch Spaceballs, like being able to identify the references, I think is a large part of the fun of the movie.
I didn't know you were a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, not like really really deep, but when I was younger, we like watched Star Wars a lot. Like we went to see the movies when they got I was gonna say reissued. That's not the thing. When they got like re-released in the theaters, like. We were definitely, like a Star Wars family. And I know some people were like, Trekkies, but we watched Star Wars.
Y'all should watch Andor if you're a Star Wars.
I've heard that's good.
Andor is really good for adult Star Wars fans.
Mm-hmm. But I feel like even if you're not a Star Wars fan, again, it helps if you've seen the movies, because then the references are kind of doubly funny. But even without that, it's just a good time. Like just really, I think you're kind of, oh my god, like shoot, what's the word? I don't know, like an archetype of what a really good campy comedy is, I think.
I think that was Mel Brooks' strength, is that he can take something and parody it, and even if you don't get the reference, you can still enjoy what he's doing. And one of the scenes that I always remembered was him parodying the scene from Alien when the xenomorph comes out of the stomach.
Oh my god.
So in Spaceballs, the xenomorph comes out of the stomach and does the "Hello, my baby, hello, my honey, hello, my ragtime doll." Like it does like a whole number. It's that and the combing the desert scene is pretty funny. I also remember that there's like they show the stormtroopers using a comb, and then they pan to the black stormtroopers and they're using a pick.
Oh my god!
Like
I forgot about that.
It's just wild. It's just wild.
It's so stupid. It's stupid.
It is very literal and silly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spaceballs reminds me of like my childhood. I love Spaceballs so much. It's just like hilarious. Perfect camp film. Very well done, Daniel. I didn't even think of that.
I also feel like it was on like regular television a lot, like on WPIX.
Yeah.
They were showing it a lot.
It's just like because it was so. I feel like that's the thing that Mel Brooks does is like I think he's able to because there were some like more subversive parts of it, but he does it in a way that I think it's his movies. I think very easily are like they're consumable or understandable by like kind of a big range of people, but they're still smart. So you could appreciate it if you're not really into Star Wars, but you like comedy. If you're into Star Wars, you get some more of the depth of the jokes and the references and sci-fi in general. So I don't know how he did it, but I'm glad he did because it was something that it was often a WPIX like 8 o'clock movie. I remember seeing it several times on UPN. Like it was on every network at least like a couple of times a month. Like it was in every rotation.
One of my favorite campy films is Death Becomes Her. It's just like so many things about that film are I love it so much. It's first of all, Meryl Streep. Hello. And it's literally created jobs now in the theater industry. I saw Death Becomes Her, like the musical, and it lives up to the film, but in like a different way as well. And I love it. It's just such a camp classic to me. Death Becomes Her is everything about it. It's like ridiculous. Like there's so many quotes from it, everything. Let's talk about Death
So
Becomes Her.
usually before you join every week when we podcast, before Toss shows up, Daniel and I have this thing where, his camera will act funny, and so he'll say, "Do you see me?" And I'll say, "No, I see me." And then we break out into "I see me. I see me." And, it's one of those things that it infects your life.
It's such a quotable
So, like,
movie.
that's
It's like an icon. Like Death Becomes Her is a gay icon in itself.
she's like, I want to talk about Madeline
Ashton.
And the one's like, "Ah!"
Now a warning.
Now a warning. How
You
old
pushed
were
me down
you?
the stairs.
How old were you all when you first saw Death Becomes Her? Out of curiosity.
Did we watch it at Purchase, Rob?
I don't know. It was it was late in life for me, very late, because that movie was looked at as a girls' movie, so the boys were not allowed to go see it. I definitely didn't come to it until much later in life.
Same.
We watched it like as kids. I remember like renting it from like where my mother would rent it from Blockbuster quite often, and and then that again was another movie that would be on TV. And it's funny because they would even they'd show like the hole through the stomach. Like it wasn't one of those movies that they would like censor stuff like that. I just thought it was so funny because I know why we watched that movie a lot because we loved Goldie Hawn. Like we watched like every single Goldie Hawn movie, and so that this movie was in that rotation. We watched Private Benjamin, we watched House Guest or House Sitter, and Death Becomes Her. But it's also just again a really clever movie. I mean, Isabella Rossellini is
incredible.
Just
incredible.
So good. And that like the ballroom scene where they show you all of the like celebrities, and when she quotes
I want to be alone.
I want to be alone.
Grace Kelly. No,
Greta Garbo.
Greta Garbo.
And the musical's great, you guys. Like, it was really fun. It's not like just a paper for paper like recreation. Well, yeah. The songs serve the movie very well in Death Becomes Her. Yes. So I enjoyed it very much when I saw it.
You mentioning that you were a big Goldie Hawn household. It's funny, we were also a big Goldie Hawn household, and that's why I saw movies like The First Wives Club and House Sitter in theaters. Death Becomes Her was not for me because it was for girls only. But First Wives Club, bring the boys, bring the children.
Yeah. Wow. So I was introduced to it probably if we didn't watch it at Purchase, then it was probably
you might have watched it. You might have watched it without me. I don't know.
Mm.
I had a weird aversion to that movie because I felt it being kept away from me as a child, so I left that alone. And then I guess I eventually was like, okay, I have to watch this movie. Everyone's referencing it. I want to know. And I love how the movie, like, if we're going to talk about camp, this movie is the live action version of what they're doing on Looney Tunes.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like, it's that,
incredible.
but it's in like a couture dress.
Yeah.
Very fun.
And what they do in the theater version for all of those practical things is incredible. So go see the show.
Have you ever? I've never seen a staging of it, but I remember when we interviewed Charles Bush like ages ago, and he was talking about vampire lesbians of Sodom, and that idea of these two really powerful, eccentric female characters kind of being frenemies and attached forever. I feel like Death Becomes Her is kind of a cinematic version of that. Like it's not referencing it, but I always think of Vampire Lesbians of Sodom when we watch Death Becomes Her, because that scene at the end when they're fighting about the spray paint, it also reminds me of Robert and I, because I always carry the big bag, and like Robert would give me his hat or like whatever he had, and I put it in my purse, and I would be the one who carries the spray paint. Like I'm convinced.
Do you remember where we parked the car?
Oh my god.
Let's move on to my next one, which is Scary Movie. And I didn't put this together back when it came out, but Scream being one of my favorite movies, it only makes sense that Scary Movie was also something that I wanted to shout it. I wanted to shout about it from the rooftop. I remember
the original Scary Movie.
The original Scary Movie. I remember dragging people to the movie theater to see Scary Movie because I could not believe that there existed this other movie that was making fun of a whole genre that I just fell in love with, and now there's a movie making fun of the movie that was making fun of that genre, and that they got it so right. They got it so right. Like the opening scene, it's a lot of this absurd literal comedy where the movie is beat for beat Scream, right? So the movie opens and Carmen Electra is playing Drew Barrymore's character. And one of the things or two of the things that stand out when he tells him to turn on the light and that her boyfriend is in the backyard and that it's Prince. Prince literally going, ah! Like screaming. There's that, and then there's when the killer finally stabs her in the chest, when he pulls his knife back, there's an implant attached to his knife. And so it's just all of this really funny stuff, or even when the parents, because like in the movie, you see the parents coming down the road and you're like, oh, thank goodness, help is on the way. In Scary Movie, the help that's on the way runs over Carmen Electra because the dad is getting roadhead from the mom. And it's just like, you didn't have to do all that, but all of it weaved together is just genius. And I feel like the first Scary Movie specifically was them making a lane for themselves as specifically making fun of horror movies, which I think can be hard to do, but no one turned it into a series of films the way they did, and now there is a new Scary Movie in the works.
That's exciting.
So, yeah, any other thoughts on Scary Movie?
Whenever I think of Scary Movie, I just think of like, I'm a shit on these walls.
Yes.
That's what I think of Scary Movie.
Is it the first Scary Movie where the clown pulls, is it Damon Wayans under the bed? No?
The second one. The second one's good too. Not as good as the first one, but it's...
Yeah. I think I mixed them all up because I also like when Regina Hall is like, Cindy Dennis's bones.
That's also the second one.
Yeah. I feel like I might have actually skipped over the first one for whatever reason, and I think most of my memories are of the second movie. But
yeah, I think so.
I will say, like, it's very smart, right? Like that's the thing. It's
very
kind of
smart.
like
the Wayans are very smart.
Like with Spaceballs, like you were saying, like it's one of these things where in order to make a good parody, it can't just be making fun of it. It can't make fun of it. It can't just make fun of it or just copy it. It has to kind of have a little commentary. It has to, like, reference it in its own unique way. And I think the Scary Movie franchise does a really good job of that. I mean, obviously the earlier movies more so than the later movies, but just something they really like have a
man.
They made something happen.
I wish the Wayans would bring back Mad TV.
Didn't they try?
Or not Mad TV. I'm sorry. In Living Color.
Okay.
I
I
was
was
like,
gonna say I
Matthew,
thought that they were attached to the reboot that was like that came out a couple years ago, but
of In Living Color?
no. Well, there was a
Of Mad
reboot of In
TV.
Living Color that never materialized, but there was a reboot of Mad TV. It lasted like a season.
Just remember, like, growing up, I was, like, watching In Living Color all the time as a kid. Like, I enjoy SNL, and I still enjoy SNL as an adult, but I was an In Living Color kid all the time.
I have nostalgic moments on Sunday nights for when everyone in the neighborhood was home, and if you looked out the window, you could see the glow of the TV in everyone's window because everyone was at home watching Married with Children, The Simpsons, and In Living Color.
Work 90s.
I will always remember that. Are we ready to move on to our next movie?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, let's do
Daniel?
it.
My other really favorite campy movie is Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
Yeah.
Again, it's a movie that I feel like I grew up watching. Like, it's clever. It's also kind of like crass and vulgar at times. And the fact that Cassandra Peterson has been doing Elvira now for the better part of like 40 years is wild because I don't know how she does it. And something about that movie, it always hits the right spot when you watch it. You know, because it's very quotable. I mean, RuPaul gets most of his sayings from that. You know, how's your head? No complaints. I just think that it's a perfect movie. It really is. I mean, the throwing the shoe into Uncle Vinny's head, her like popping the chains with her boobs, like a lot of my favorite parts come from that chase scene for some reason at the end, but also when she's like scrubbing the gasoline off herself with or not the gasoline, the tar with gasoline. As a child, I was just like, you can do that? Like, how is she can you really use gasoline? And then she's like, don't light a cigarette. It's very silly. It's very, very silly. But also like she's so glamorous. Like you just want to like look at her, and for a while now I've wanted a tattoo of her knife somewhere because I think about it often. But again, I just think it's just really funny. Very, very funny to me. And it reminds me a lot of especially the way she interacts with the kids. It reminds me a lot of Animal House. The Jim Belushi movie, especially like when the kids are like trying to spy on her while she's showering and stuff. I think it picks up on a lot of those things as well. And then, the picnic scene, what is it, Golitra? Like, again, there's just a lot of material in that movie. I think that's quite memorable.
Absolutely. There was so much in that movie because I remember watching that movie as a kid, and there was so much in that movie that I didn't get. Like I was just an innocent onlooker.
Oh my god, and Baby Elvira.
Oh my god.
Baby Elvira, which is you, Robert, I'm convinced.
It is me in drag. I really do enjoy that movie. It's not Halloween without it.
I mean, and Chastity Pariah. Like, what would we do without her? Like the names also, like the character names, I think are also very, very good and clever as well. Yeah. If you haven't seen it, you should. That's
so many good lines in that movie. Should we move on to our last movie?
Yeah.
I want to talk about Spiceworld.
Work.
I love it.
Oh my god, that movie gives me so many memories as a child, and like I saw that in the theater, and it's one of my favorite campy movies of all time. Number one, the Spice Girls themselves, they're just camp in general, but that movie is just like so ridiculous and like so perfect.
Muchos besos de las chicas picantes.
What do you guys think of Spiceworld?
I think I've only seen it once.
Yeah, I think I have more experience with it than
Yeah, because the Spice Girls for me were also always kind of peripheral for whatever reason. They weren't like at the top of my list. So when the movie came out, I didn't really watch it, but I watched it in bits and pieces, and then I think I watched it all the way through once with Robert, and it is very silly. I think it's very silly. It's very funny. Isn't there a part with aliens or something?
Girls.
Like it doesn't make like the movie is like a
It's a mishmash.
It's a weird smoothing.
Yeah.
So I've never
that works.
Yes,
that works, but it's a weird one.
I've never seen A Hard Day's Night, but apparently it is A Hard Day's Night.
It's based off of A Hard Day's Night. Yeah.
So, but it's like an absurdist
pop
culture type, like pop culture infused version of that. I was a huge fan of the Spice Girls, and I still remember, I think it was the American Music Awards, they announced that Spiceworld was being made. There wasn't even any footage from it. It was just the Spice Girls walking out in front of a red screen or something, and then the name of the movie showing up in front of them. That was all they gave us. And I was like, Spice Girls in a movie? Like, we won. Such a good movie. I mean, Alan Cumming as the documentarian who is making the movie about them is so much. Because Alan Cumming is not, I mean, if you watch Traitors, you know Alan Cumming is theatrical and he brings all of that to the role. And it doesn't really need it, but he gives it anyway. It's like, it was almost like some of these bigger name actors who were in this movie were trying to do a little bit more heavy lifting. And also, my girl Jerry, she knows how to act. Watch that movie back. She knows how to act.
Mm-hmm. Who's your favorite Spice Girl, Rob?
Jerry. I just said it. Gerald.
Darn, is it bad that I don't have one?
Yes.
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 I don't know. Scary Spice.
Thank you. That's the obvious answer.
There we go. It is, isn't it? Just because I've seen her in more like things outside of that, so I know more about her. But
my favorite Spice Girl is the one that doesn't want to be a Spice Girl. Posh. Womp womp.
I feel like we gave the three obvious answers because no one really cares about Baby or Sporty. Although I had a whole moment with Mel C when she released music.
Sporty, yes. Sporty could, my God, incredible music. Yeah.
I'm just remembering the movie montage photo shoot, and it's Jerry as Sandy from Grease and Sporty as Danny Zuko. That movie made a lot of us gay. I'm convinced. There was something in the celluloid of the film. Just it got into the air and the particles.
I saw it with my best lesbian friend, and Rob knows who that is.
Yeah, we all went to see the Spice Girls together at the Prudential Center a million years ago.
Yeah.
That was a good time.
That was a good time.
They're threatening to go on tour again, and I will be there. I'm ready to slam it to the left, shake it to the right, kick it to the front. Hi, see ya, hold tight. I'm ready to do it.
I saw a meme that someone shared saying that, like, if season 14 of Drag Race was for the trans community, season 17 is for the lesbian community. It's like, okay.
I don't really get that, but sure.
I get it. Yeah, very Susie Toot vibes, and Lydia and, what's it called? Corey.
Susie Toot does give a little drag king in the 20s, right? Like, a little bit.
She does.
Like a Stormy DeLavery type of vibes, a little bit.
Yep.
Tiny bit.
Yep.
Tiny bit.
Don't give her too much credit. Yeah, so I think that's it for this week. Thanks for hanging out with us. Let us know some of your favorite campy movies in the comments. And like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Bye!
Bye!